Can you see all of you, children?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So our today's topic is actually, we have already done this topic before. It is not like that it's a new topic. It is not a new topic at all. We have done this when Safana, Sadika, Anindi, these people were not in the class. We were doing that time this chapter. Okay, we were doing that time this chapter. So we are again doing this. Okay, this is a very, I will say, basic chapter in our biology. And in this chapter, we will see human digestion, by the way. So what is, people are still joining. So let them join. We are doing human digestion. Okay. So what is actually digestion? One by one, we will see the slides, listen carefully. I will explain, and then I will ask the questions from you all. Okay, children? So let's start. What is actually digestion? Okay. So human digestion, please turn off your microphone. Human digestion is a process which has
Miss, do we write this?
No, you have, I have already uploaded the slides on Google Classroom, so you don't have to write. You will just see from there, understand the thing now, okay? What are the different steps in the process of digestion? Digestion is eating till you get energy, okay? But it's not happening instantly. It's not happening in a blink of an eye. It is, you know, this process is consisting of several stages. And what are those stages? Number one is ingestion. We will see one by one what they are. Mastication, digestion, absorption, assimilation. So what they are actually, one by one, we will see them, okay? So now let's see. This is the human digestive system. You can all see that it starts right from our mouth, then our throat. The biological name of throat is pharynx. See the cursor? Pharynx. This is throat. So when you are eating the food, ultimately the food will reach here, which is our pharynx or throat. And then the food goes to the food pipe. You can see beside the food pipe, this is our windpipe. So how close they are, windpipe and food pipe. So by a little bit of mistake, the food can slip, if God forbid, here in the windpipe, then there will be a disaster. Choking, severe choking, unless and until the thing comes out. And the food goes straight into the food pipe. The biological name of food pipe is esophagus. Okay. Esophagus opens in our stomach. So this is our stomach. Okay. And then you can see that the small intestine, the large intestine. Okay. A small intestine, large intestine, liver. You can see this, this brown color organ, liver, and this pancreas, a small yellow color thing which is seen over here is pancreas, large intestine, rectum. These are all the, so you should know the labeling. Okay, you should know the labeling. You have to practice the labeling. So I'm giving you all the notes, I'm giving you all the slides and everything. So reading these things will be, I think, more than enough. Okay. Now let's move to the next part. The first part, while you are eating the food, while you have to do the digestion of the food. So before digestion, what you have to do? You have to eat. You have to take a bite. You have to take the food in your mouth. So the act of taking the food in your mouth, as you can see in the picture, this is actually ingestion. She is ingesting the food. This lady is ingesting the food. After you will ingest the food, you keep the food in your mouth. The next thing which you do is you start chewing the food. So see, chewing, mastication. The biological word for chewing is mastication. So the act of chewing is called mastication, and why it is necessary. First of all, the solid lump of food you cannot swallow. Because you can see, I'll show you the picture again. You can see the food pipe is so thin, narrow, and delicate tube. Such a big solid bite will stuck here. You will not be able to swallow it. We will choke to death. So we have to, first of all, crush the food, break it into tinier pieces, make it into a paste form so that it can easily slip down in our food pipe. Okay. So this is one purpose of chewing, that you have to, crush the food. The second purpose is you have to increase the surface area of the food. So when the surface area of the food will increase, each and every particle of the food, the particles of the food will be scattered and they will come in contact with the enzyme. So each and every particle of the food will be properly digested. It means if you will not chew the food properly, if you will try to just gulp down the food, you will miss the process of digestion in the mouth. And that might lead to the problem like ingestion. So chewing the food is actually crushing the food so that it will become easier to swallow. And second thing is that you have to increase the surface area of the food so that each and every particle can come in contact with the digestive juices and enzymes. Okay. Now, what happens in the mouth when you crush the food, when you chew the food? Under your tongue on both the sides, you have got salivary glands, 3 pairs of salivary glands. So they produce saliva. We have saliva all the time in our mouth, but when we are eating the food, when you are chewing the food, the production of saliva by a reflex section increases. When you see a delicious food, what happens? Your mouth waters. Mouth watering food. Why we say mouth watering food? Because when you will see the delicious food, even when you just smell the aroma of the food, sometimes it becomes mouth watering. Why? Because the production of saliva increases to welcome the food in your mouth. Okay. So what is the function of saliva? Saliva is a liquid, colorless, watery, and its pH is 7. It is neutral in nature. It is neither acidic nor alkaline. It's neutral in nature. Okay. And saliva contains an enzyme, and we all are familiar with the enzymes. Enzymes are the biological catalysts. Enzymes increases the rate of the reaction. All right, they are biological catalysts and they increase the rate of the reactions. So what they are doing, what this enzyme salivary amylase is doing in our saliva, we have an enzyme salivary amylase which acts only on the starch in your food. Whatever the starch you have in your food, only that starch will be broken down into partially into a simpler form which is called maltose. Maltose is not the simplest form. It's not the final form. It is a simpler form, one stage simpler. So the starch will become one stage simpler, that is called maltose. Okay. So after you have finished chewing the the starch in the food is digested into maltose. Your food which you had, the big bite which you had taken, now it is converted into a paste form. And this paste form of the food is called bolus. The paste form of the food is called bolus. All right. Now see next. Swallowing. What is swallowing? Right after you finish eating the food, right after you digest the food, you finish digesting the food, you have to gulp it down. So the process of gulping the food down from your mouth to your food pipe is called swallowing. So before reading this slide, let's see the structure. See the cursor. This is our mouth and this is the food we have eaten and it has become a bolus, the semi-liquid or paste form. This is your tongue. This is your nose, your nasal cavity. This is your nasal cavity. Okay. In between your nasal cavity, the space inside the nose is the nasal cavity. And this is your mouth. In between these two, you can see this partition, blue color, which is seen here. This partition is called heart palate. So what is heart palate? Heart palate is a partition in between your nasal cavity, your nose, and your mouth. Okay. It is a partition in between your nose and your mouth. So, and you can see this thing which is coming at the back. What is this thing? It is a soft, muscular, tail-like structure, the extension of the hard palate. Hard palate is hard bony structure, and this structure is the soft palate. It is a soft muscular structure. It does not have any bone in it. Okay. So when you are swallowing
Miss,
the
is
food,
it cartilage?
no, it does not have any cartilage. Okay. So when you have, it is just a soft bony structure. So when you are swallowing the food, you will push your tongue, you will push your tongue, you will take your tongue up, and you will you will press the bolus of the food against your hard palate. And then and there your bolus will slip down. See the direction of the arrow. But there are chances that see the cursor, the bolus can go in the reverse direction. If it happens, then the food will come in the nasal cavity and we will not be able to breathe. It can happen that the food can go into the windpipe. So this is the windpipe. So if this thing will happen, that is also a disaster. The food should not go here in the food in the windpipe. So where actually the food should go? Here. This is the this is the food pipe or esophagus. Okay. So when you are swallowing the food, you are pressing the bolus against the hard palate. Your soft palate will change the position, and it will, from the back side, it will close your nasal cavity. So from the back side, your nasal cavity will be closed, and your trachea will come a little bit in the upward direction. So you can see here this cursor right under our tongue. This thing is called epiglottis. It is a cartilaginous lid-like structure. So your trachea will move up and it will be closed by the epiglottis. So you can say the soft palate is closing the nasal cavity at the back. Your trachea will move upward and come under the epiglottis. So your trachea will be closed. So what does it mean? Your entire respiratory tract is closed. So then and there, the food will cross this throat area, which is called pharynx, and it will enter in the food pipe. It will enter in the food pipe. Right after, when the bolus crosses this area, again your nasal cavity will be open. This soft palate will come down. Your windpipe will go down, and again your respiratory tract will open. So what does it mean? When you are swallowing the food, that time you are not breathing. You can try right now. Swallow and see, you will not breathe. Isn't it, children? When we swallow, we do not breathe. Swallowing and breathing cannot be taking place together at the same time. If you will try to swallow and breathe, our food particles will go in the windpipe and we will start choking. Okay, sometimes it happens when we eat the food and we are talking also. We are eating and we are talking, or we are laughing. Why we say that when you are eating the food, you should not talk. When you are lying down, do not eat. Sit straight, eat, and try to talk less when you are eating. Why? Because if your respiratory tract will open, your food will, slip into the windpipe. So that has to be prevented. Otherwise, a person can even choke to death. Okay. So when you are swallowing the food, this thing is the soft palate. It will go upward and it will close the nasal cavity. Your trachea will come upward and this epiglottis will close the trachea. So by the end of the class, I will show you the video how this is happening. Okay, now we will go back and we will see the process of swallowing, how it is happening, how this process of swallowing is taking place. The tongue pushes the food against the hard palate. The soft palate closes the nasal cavity. Trachea is pulled upward and comes right under the epiglottis. Okay, right under the epiglottis, which is a lid-like structure, and the bolus, the semi-paste form of the food will slip directly into the food pipe rather than in the windpipe. Okay, so this is how it is prevented. The food is prevented. So if I ask the question that how the food is prevented going to the windpipe, Then you have to write down the process of swallowing. What is soft palate? It is at the back of our hard palate. There is a tail-like structure which is called soft palate. What is our hard palate? It is a bony partition in between our nasal cavity and our mouth cavity. Okay. So we are moving to the next part. Peristalsis. So before reading peristalsis, let's see the picture. You have seen in this picture how narrow the food pipe is. How narrow this food pipe is. So when the bolus will come here in the food pipe, it will be difficult for the bolus to slip down freely. The bolus has to be pushed hardly in the downward direction. The bolus will not be able to go by itself. It has to be pushed. Why? Because our food pipe is very narrow, extremely very narrow. How this pushing action is taking place now. See, our food pipe, this is our food pipe. It is made up of two sets of muscles, circular and longitudinal. You can see circular muscles, bolus of the food, longitudinal muscles. What are circular muscles? Which are going along the circular way. What are longitudinal muscles? Which are going along the length of the food pipe. So they will contract and relax one after another simultaneously. How? Circular muscles contract, longitudinal muscles relax. Next movement. Longitudinal muscles contract, circular muscles relax. As a result, you can see how a wave-like motion is created. How a wave is created in the food pipe. Some places it is narrow, some places it is broad. So a wave-like motion is created, which is called peristalsis, and peristalsis pushes the food right down the food pipe. See what it is written here in the slide. Food pipe or esophagus is a muscular tube. It is very much constricted. What is the meaning of constricted? Very thin. All right. Bolus has to be pushed through it. It cannot go by itself. So the bolus has to be pushed downward. Okay, the bolus has to be pushed through it. Okay, peristalsis is a wave-like motion which pushes the food down through the food pipe. So it is made up of food pipe is made up of circular and longitudinal muscles which contract and relax simultaneously, causing a wave-like motion which pushes the food down. Did you understand, children? This thing up to this is clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So up to this is clear to all of you. Good. Now, stomach. See, the bolus has come very much near the stomach. This is our stomach. The circular and longitudinal muscles are contracting and relaxing, and they're pushing the food downward. This is our stomach. Stomach is a bag-like structure. Okay. Our stomach is a bag-like structure. And you can see over here, you can see the cursor at the entrance of our stomach and at the exit of our stomach. Here, entrance and exit. There are two rings of muscles. There are two doors, which are nothing but rings of muscles. They will open and close. They will let the bolus come in and go out. Okay. So when the bolus will come near the stomach, this ring of muscle, which is called cardiac sphincter, will relax open. The bolus will come in the stomach and the cardiac sphincter will close. It's a reflex action. We are not controlling it. It's not in our control. The unconscious part of the brain is controlling this thing. So when the bolus comes near the stomach, at the entrance of the stomach, there is a ring of muscle which is called cardiac sphincter. So the cardiac sphincter will open, relax open, the food comes down, and again it closes. Sorry. Again it closes. Then you are eating the second bite. Again the second bolus will come. It opens. Bolus comes in, it closes. So this opening and closing of cardiac sphincter will keep on going as long as you are eating. Why? Why not it is left permanently open? Because if it is left permanently open, it might happen that the food can go in the reverse direction from the food pipe into your mouth and we can vomit. And this is how we vomit. When a person vomits, the cardiac sphincter opens, Peristalsis takes place in the stomach. The stomach will contract and relax, and the bolus pushes in the reverse direction. It comes in the mouth and a person throws it up. This is how we throw up. All right. So throwing up takes place in that way. So this is the reason that it has to open and close. And then the second bolus will come, it will open and then it will close, and then open and then close. And when you will permanently, you have just finished eating your food, done, drinking water is done, cardiac sphincter will be permanently closed. And this, at the end of the stomach, at the exit of the stomach, there is a pyloric sphincter. This is closed. It's not going to open. So what does it mean? In our stomach, the food will be locked up for at least 4 to 5 hours. Depends upon how heavy diet you have taken, or you have taken a light diet, whatever. If you have taken a very heavy diet, then it will take a long time. The food will remain in your stomach for 4 to 5 hours. You will not feel hungry. Why? Because the food is locked up in the stomach. The stomach is not empty. So what will happen in the stomach then? Digestion will take place in the stomach. How? So the stomach is a muscular bag-like structure. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Cardiac sphincter. Let's read about cardiac sphincter first. It's a ring of muscles located at the entrance of the stomach, or in between food pipe and the stomach, you can say. When the bolus reaches near it, it relaxes and allows the bolus to enter the stomach, and closes again till the next bolus reaches near it. It is not permanently left open to prevent the food going in the reverse direction. Okay. Pyloric sphincter. It is located at the exit of the stomach, or in between stomach and the duodenum. Okay. It prevents the food going to the intestine before the digestion is over in the stomach. Okay. Now see this thing. This is our stomach, and this is the thick wall of the stomach. See how thick stomach is. And you can see inside the stomach, these are the tiny digestive glands. We are calling them gastric glands. See, gastric glands. So you are seeing only two. There are millions and millions of tiny gastric glands. And what do they produce? Gastric juice. So you can see the gastric glands are producing gastric juice, and all inside in the stomach. The inner lining of the stomach has a thin layer of mucus. I will tell you the function of this mucus later. Okay. So the gastric glands are producing gastric juice. So what this gastric juice contain? Stomach is a thick, elastic, muscular bag-like structure. The walls of the stomach has numerous tiny glands called gastric glands. These glands produce gastric juice, and gastric juice contain a very dilute hydrochloric acid and an enzyme pepsinogen. So dilute hydrochloric acid and an enzyme pepsinogen. So what is the function of this hydrochloric acid? The function of this hydrochloric acid is to kill the germs. If you have swallowed the germs with the food, so they will be automatically they will be killed. We are not becoming sick. Whenever we are eating the food, we are not becoming sick. Why? Because our hydrochloric acid is there to kill the germs. Okay. And then this hydrochloric acid also providing a low pH value for this pepsinogen enzyme to get activated. The optimum pH, enzymes work best at an optimum pH. So the optimum pH of pepsinogen is less than 7. So how this less than 7 pH will be created in our stomach? By this hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid is providing a low pH value. This pepsinogen will be activated into pepsin. What is the difference in between pepsinogen and pepsin? Pepsinogen is inactive form. It comes in the stomach. It mixes with hydrochloric acid. It takes some time. pH goes down, and then it gets activated and becomes pepsin. Okay. What this pepsin is doing? Pepsin is breaking down or partially digesting proteins to a simpler form, not the simplest form, simpler form called peptides. All right. So in our mouth, we have partially digested starch to maltose. The food is converted into a paste form, which is called bolus. In our stomach, we have digested one more component of our food. We have digested proteins partially into peptides. So the bolus, the paste form, will become very thin and watery liquid, and that is called chyme. So in our stomach, the food will be converted into a very, creamy liquid, which is called chyme. Now, I was telling you what is the purpose of this mucus in our stomach. The purpose of this mucus in our stomach is the prevention of self-digestion. Listen carefully. What is prevention of self-digestion? Our enzymes are so strong,
So our
so
stomach
strong.
doesn't accidentally digest cells.
Yes, yes, the cells will not be digested. The walls of the stomach will not be digested away, will not be destroyed by these enzymes. Why? Because this layer of mucus is protecting the walls of stomach. And not only that, the enzymes inside these glands are manufactured in the inactive form. So they come out in a particular area, in a particular place. They are mixed up, they meet a particular pH, and then they will become activated. And then they will become activated. So this is how prevention of self-digestion is taking place. Okay. So this entire place from mouth till the stomach, digestion of starch is taking place. Saliva, enough saliva is there in our food. So salivary amylase is there, and salivary amylase is digesting starch. As soon as the food comes in our stomach, the pH changes because we have acid in our stomach. Then and there, the salivary amylase is denatured. Salivary amylase is destroyed. This is the reason that why starch is not digesting away, is not being digested in our stomach. Why starch is not digesting in our stomach? Because the salivary amylase enzyme is destroyed in our stomach. Why? The pH is changed. And when you change the pH, enzymes are so sensitive that increasing or decreasing the pH, they will be destroyed. This is the reason that why salivary amylase is not digesting the starch in the stomach anymore, because it is finished. Now the pH is changed, and who is becoming active now? Pepsin. Pepsin is digesting proteins now. So remember, the digestion of starch is taking place in the mouth till the end of the food pipe. Till the end of the food pipe. And then in the stomach, starch digestion is done, salivary amylase is destroyed, and the digestion of proteins will start. Okay, so we have seen this thing. Now, what will happen? See, this pyloric sphincter, this ring of muscles will open, but the cardiac sphincter will remain tightly closed because we do not have to take this chyme back into the mouth. We do not have to vomit. So the cardiac sphincter is now locked. This door is locked, and this door will open, and peristalsis will take place in the stomach, and drop by drop, drop by drop, the chyme comes in the first part of our small intestine, which you can see over here, a tube-like structure. This is the first part of our small intestine, and it is called duodenum. See, it is written here, duodenum. First section of small intestine. So the duodenum is connected with two main digestive glands. You can see, can you tell me the name of this big brown color gland?
Liver.
Liver. And this leaf-like delicate tiny gland?
Pancreas.
Pancreas. Okay, so these are the two glands, and they are connected. Like you can see right in the middle of the pancreas, there is a thin tube-like structure. This is called pancreatic duct. See, it is written here. So whatever the juice pancreas is making, pancreatic duct will pour this juice into the duodenum. Liver, there is a rounded structure in the liver which is called gallbladder. So whatever the juice liver is making, that will come in this ball-like structure called gallbladder. And then the gallbladder will send it via tiny tube-like structure called bile duct into the duodenum. Into the duodenum. And now the action of the juices of bile and pancreas will start. Clear, children? Is this idea? All of you
Yes.
have understood? All right. So, 3 minutes are left. So let's have question answer session. Meeting will be over in some time. Okay, now children, you people tell me, what is ingestion?
Ingestion is eating food.
Eating food? Eh,
Ingestion is the act of taking food into your mouth.
taking the food in the mouth is ingestion. Good, very good. Okay, what is mastication?
Chewing.
Safana just gave
Mastication
the.
is uh,
Yes, please, Safana.
Chewing.
okay.
Mastication is chewing.
Chewing,
Mas-
chewing,
Mastication is the act of chewing.
chewing the food, chewing the food. Okay, Shebonte. Um, why mastication is important? Why mastication is important? Who will tell the answer why mastication is important?
Mastication is important because if we don't break down the food,